two of these questions on Monday's part of the quiz. One like 1, 2, and 3, where they give you all three sides, and you just have to be able to pick the right ones. Make sure you reduce all your fractions, and then one like number 4, where you got to work with rationals and rationalizing the denominator and all that good stuff. There's 2 parts to each, so there's going to be that's like 4 questions, but they're quick. All right. Anybody have any questions about any of those? Or root 13 for number 4? Absolutely, I can. We got this open. Open this back up. Open this back up. All right. So number 4 then. All right. So it says given triangle TRN where the measure of n is 90 degrees. All right. Tn equals 12. Rn equals 8. And we want to find the cosine of t. All right. Okay. So the one that you have to get in a particular place is at the 90-degree angle. All right. So basically we're looking at it, and in order to get cosine t, remember cosine from SOHCAHTOA is adjacent over hypotenuse. All right, well, we don't know the hypotenuse, so we use Pythagorean theorem. 8 squared is 64, 12 squared is 144, and then we got a square root. And that's the square root of 208. Now, because 4 goes into both 8 and 12, at the very least, I know 4 is going to be outside the radical when I'm done. 4 squared is 16. 208 divided by 16, I believe, is 13. So 4 root 13. All right. So there's the 4 root 13 part that was asked about. Now to get the cosine, it's the adjacent, which is 12, over the hypotenuse, which is 413. All right. Now the easiest way to do it is look at your numbers first, the non-radical part, and see if that can be simplified. 12 divided by 4 is 3. It doesn't have to go in perfectly. It can also be reduced. So that becomes 3 root 13. And then I'm left to rationalize the denominator, which would be root 13 over root 13. And now I'm looking at 3 root 13 over 13 for my final answer. And hopefully that is what we want to get. Yeah, 3 root 13, 13. So over here is the final answer. All right. Boom. So that's my final answer. All right, so you will have one like that where you do need to find the third side and rationalize the denominator possible. All right. So we got 1 through 4 covered. All right. So now we're looking at 5, 6, 7, and 8. 5 and 6, you're finding the side length. 7, 8, you're finding the angle. For the quiz on Monday, you will need to do both the ratio equation you used. So everything that's shown is what you need to show. All right. In 7 and 8, you don't need to include the question mark. All right. We're going to walk through what you do in a moment when we go through edge elastic. All right. But there's 5, 6, 7, and 8. Number 5. Okay. All right. So number 5, we want to find x. Okay. That's hypotenuse. X is the opposite, so we're working with sine. So the sine of 35 equals the opposite, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 14. I'm going to multiply both sides by 14. I get 14 sine 35. All right, I go to my calculator and I do 14 sine 35, and I get 8.03. There's the tens place. Underneath it is the number, so that's why it's 8. All right, so that would be number 5. Okay, go back to the screen. Can I go over 7? Absolutely, I can go over 7. So, once I have it up on the screen, we got 25, 55, and that's the angle we're trying to find. Okay? All right, so 25 is the adjacent, 55 is the hypotenuse. That means we're using cosine. So the cosine of whatever the angle measure is the 25 over 55. When finding an angle, the difference is we're using the inverses. So it's second cosine, so we hit second first, and then we do 25 divided by 55. We get 62.96, which is awfully close to 63 degrees. So when we round to the nearest degree, we're going to have 60. No problem. All right. So there's the rest. Any others from that group? 5, 6, 7, or 8? Everybody's good? Going once? Going twice? All right. So there's number 9, and you'll have one just like it on the quiz. Sure. All right. So, draw it out, and then we'll show it to you guys. So this is 42, that's x, that's 70, and that's 35. All right, so when you get this one on Monday, the first thing you look for is which one has both an angle and a side, the one on the left or the one on the right. The one on the left, so we're going to work with that first. All right, so basically to get x, we need to get the adjacent side, the side of chairs. So I need to get that one. All right. So that's the adjacent. 42 is the opposite. That means we're going to use tan. So tangent 35 equals 42, and we'll call it over A for adjacent. All right, because the variable's in the denominator, we're going to end up dividing 42 divided by tangent 35. All right, so there's the 42 divided by tangent 35. And it gives me 59.98, which it says to round to the tens place. If I look at 9 after it's bigger, so that's going to be 60. All right, so that's going to be 60. All right, so now I'm going to go to this, and that's 70 degrees. But instead of a variable now, that's a side line. That's the opposite, that's the adjacent. So once again, we're going to use tangent. This time we're going to use that angle, so we're going to go tangent 70 equals the opposite, which we found in the previous spot to be 60, over the adjacent, which is 6. Again, Variables in the denominator, so I'm going to divide 60 divided by tangent 70. And I get 21.8. Something's wrong. Something's really wrong. Was that 4.2 in the original or 42? Hold on. Yep, that was 42. Okay, my bad. All right, so that's the 21.8. Yep, that makes sense. All right. There you go. So basically, on Monday's quiz, you're going to have to show both ratios you use and then your final answer. All right, so there'll be a blank for the ratios you use that you entered that and that, a ratio for the side, the intermediate step, all right, and then the final answer. Okay. All right, so that takes care of Monday. So now we go to Tuesday's part. All right, we'll go one at a time. So there's the squirrel. All right, is there anybody who needs me to go over this problem, the one with the squirrel? It's 21.8. Yes, it does. Okay. Alrighty then. So this is what I got. They tell me the squirrel is on the ground, the best friend's up in the tree, the angle of elevation is 12x minus 3, the angle of depression is 8x plus 9. These lines are parallel, so those angles are congruent. So 8x plus 9 equals 12x minus 3. Once I have that, I'm going to solve 4x equals 12 and x equals 3. I'm then going to plug that in. 12 times 3 is 36. 36 minus 3 is 33 degrees. If I want to check my work, 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 9 is 3. So that gives me my angle of elevation of 33 degrees. So now the squirrel's 18 away, and this is 33 degrees. We're trying to find the height. All right, that looks like tangent. All right, so tangent 33 equals h over 18. All right, to get rid of the division by 18, we're going to multiply by 18. So now I got 18 tangent 33. 18 tangent 33. And I get 11.68. So h equals 11.68. Now, for the inches part, we said the 11 feet is what it is. All right, so we go to our calculator, we take that away. That gives us the 0.689, and then there's 12 inches in a foot. So we take whatever that is, we multiply by 12, and round the nearest whole unit. So since 8.2 rounds down to 8, it would be 11 feet, 8 inches. All right, so the final answer would be 11 feet, 8 inches. So for that one, you would be asked to fill in the angle of elevation and depression in boxes, and then you'd be asked to show your trig ratio, and then find the actual height. All right. Okay, so now the problem of Fry sitting at the edge of a boat. The final answer, by the way, if you can't tell, is 82.1. Do you need me to go over this one? Yes. Okay. So, some of you talked about this last night, so here's the idea. I'm going to draw it first as I'm talking through it. and then we'll get it through. So, all right. Okay. So I put it back on so you can see what we're doing. 9:18, we're good till 9:35. Okay. All right, so this is what we got. Fry's up here at the tip of her boat, and the wreck is down here. They say it's 32.4 meters away, and the angle of depression is 71. So I transferred that to the angle of elevation. All right, so first thing I'm trying to find is this height, which is the vertical distance from the wreck to Fry. All right, to use that once again, I'm going to use tangent. So tangent 71 equals h over 32.4. Once again, I'm going to do multiplication. 32.4 times tangent 71, and I get 94.09. All right, so this becomes 94.09. All right, now here's the thing. Fry is 12 feet above sea level, so there's the 12. If it's 94, we'll call this 94.1. Okay? If we're 94.1 from Fry down to the wreck and we're 12 feet above sea level, we want to figure out how far below sea level that is. The 12 has to be taken away because that's above sea level. So the math would be 94.1 minus 12, which is 82.1. So that's why the final answer is 82.1. All right. Everybody good? Understand all components of it? This one's similar to the one where the 94.1 come from. The tangent. Okay, so we need to use the trig to get the height from Fry down to the shipwreck, and then we take the 12 away. So the first part comes from trig. It's similar to the one where they tell you it's above eye level, and you had to add it. This time, instead of adding, you're going to subtract. So if you put 94.1 instead of the 82.1, you'd lose a couple points for not taking care of that. But if your trig is fine, you would get most of the points. All right. Everybody else good? Before moving on to the last one. All right. So then there's Mr. Capelli's problem. The one to the left is, so this part over here is part A, this part over there is part B. Yep, okay, so part B. Okay, so, all right, from the first part, we found the angle to be 83.7 and we're 5 meters away. So basically it then says he has to increase the angle by 5 degrees. So we take that 83.7 and we add 5, and that gives us our new triangle, which is 88.7 degrees. This is still 5. That doesn't change because it was 5 away to begin with. All right, when the problem started, it was 5 meters away. So So now we're trying to find the new height. So once again, because it's the hypotenuse isn't involved, it's tangent. So the tangent of 88.7 equals h over 5. We're going to do 5 tangent 88.7. And that's where the 220.33 comes from. All right. All right. So again, the word problem part will be on Tuesday. It'll only be like 3 or 4 problems, depending upon how many steps you got to show in between. All right. I just want to go through some formatting things, and then you are on your way. So I got to open this up. I got to save that one. All right. So I got to open up these. Authored by me. Honors Yanto. Can't do that. All right. So this is what we're looking at. So basically, we got 2 questions here. All right. I want to make sure you understand how to enter them. So find x round to the nearest 10th place in the diagram below, indicating what ratio equation you use to find your answer. Okay. So basically, all right, we got ratio and equation. All right. So we have 17.5, we have x over 12. Hypotenuse is not involved, so it's tangent. So I'd expect you to put in tangent 17.5 equals, and then this is your fraction button. All right, the opposite, which is the x, over the 12. All right, and then your solution would be whatever it comes out to be. You end up doing 12 tangent 17.5, and you would get 3.8 centimeters. And you round it. Okay, so make sure you're able to enter it. Now, the second one, the one I want to talk about now, we're finding an angle measure. Find the measure of x in the diagram above, rounding to the nearest degree. Show the ratio you used. So my ratio, because I'm using inverse down here, see, these are the inverse ones. You're going to use sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay? So basically, it's opposite over hypotenuse, so it's sine. So you would plug in sine -1. And then all you have to do is put in the math you would do. The opposite is the 4.2. All right? All right, over 6.7. That, since it's really division, I wouldn't mind if you just put in like 4.2 divided by 6.7. It's not as big a deal as in the previous one to write in the ratio. And then you would go to the measure of x. You would go to your calculator. All right, and you would get 39 degrees when you enter it. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, so that pretty much covers everything. All right. Is there anything else you guys need me to go over before I give you the farewell message? Okay. All right. So Monday. All right. Part 1. The non-word problem part. All right. You need to move quickly. You need to move quickly. If you need to practice, go back to the first homework and just practice doing that quickly, because you got 35 minutes. And if you run out of time, you run out of time. It's no good. All right, so you need to move quickly on Monday. So part 1's a non-word problem quickly. All right, the live stream. All right, only if you have an issue. All right, I'm going to take attendance through the Edulastic quiz. So I'm going to take attendance through Edulastic. So you do not need to come to here on Monday and Tuesday. All right, you do not need to come here Monday and Tuesday. So there will be a live stream available. I'll put it in Google Classroom, but you only have to come here if there's an issue. Once you're done taking that portion of the quiz, you are then free to go. I don't know what we're doing on Wednesday yet. I will let you know on Monday or Tuesday. Mainly Wednesday is going to be for makeup work for people. Probably there won't be a meet unless there's a reason to. I might open it up for people who have a question about a quiz, like what they got right or wrong, and I can go through it with them. All right. But that would be the only thing. Okay. So, all right. So Monday, part 1, non-word problem. Make sure you work quickly. You go right to Edulastic. You do not need to go to the live stream. Only if you have an issue, you go right to Edulastic. The quiz will be open at 9 o'clock, and it will close at 9:35. You got 35 minutes. It'll be shorter, but you got to move quickly. If you take too much time doing a problem, it's going to hurt you for the rest. And again, it's just like the first 9 from the review. There's no word problem. Then Tuesday, the word problems, there'll be fewer problems because you got to take a little bit of time to go through those. All right. Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any questions other than that? All right. If not, you guys have been great this week. All of you showing up, perfect attendance. That's awesome. All right. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Study either hard or study light, whatever you want. Message me in Google Classroom or email me if something comes up that you need me to go over. I'll be around all weekend, and I'll let you know before you walk in the door Monday at 9 o'clock. All right? Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Be safe. Be healthy.